Good morning, guys. Friday, April 5th, 2019. It's about 5:30 in the morning. Just finished a workout. Uh, felt good. Felt good to get up this morning, do some weightlifting a little bit. Get back in the rhythm of things. I've been trying to keep consistent on the hashtag 75hard. If you don't know what that is, that's put on another episode. Talking about the consistency, building consistency, and real quick on that program, it's not a program that's meant to be completed, which is what the individual who came up with it talked about. It's not supposed to be completed. It's a program to challenge you to go 75 days straight on a consistent routine, and the routines they seem like simple tasks. So again, look up the 75 hard concept episode. That'll explain, what it's all about, what's going on. But today I wanted to talk about a thought it's been kind of my idea of life in general, and a lot of reasons why things happen the way they happen, why we go through stuff, why sometimes we feel like we're never gaining ground, right? We go through challenges, we go through struggles, only to fall short, and many times in my life, and this is all from my experience, it's nothing to condone on you or force on you or anything like that. It's my experience. Many of the times, I've just felt like, no matter how many times I swing the bat, no matter how many times I keep shooting, no matter how many times, I take another step, it always feels like I'm taking it in the wrong direction. Or, if you picture a batter at a batter's box in baseball, I'm facing the wrong way, right? Instead of facing, where the pitcher's pitching to, I've got my back to him. I'm facing the wrong way, but I'm swinging the bat, So, an idea had hit me many, many years ago. I was young. I just thought about things for a minute, and as I continue to grow and as I continue to, live life, I've always taken a step back and just kind of thought about things. And the idea was circles. If you draw a circle, you get at one point, you go all the way around, a full 360 degrees, and you end up right back at the same point in which you started from, right? And if you draw the same circle on the same, piece of paper in the exact same position, you're going to repeat it easier and easier and easier, and the more you do it, the more consistent you are at that circle, okay? Now, situations in life happen in circles. Some will say cycles, but a cycle is just from a starting point to an ending point, repeating in consistency, right? A cycle. So, every 30 days, every 90 days, every year, there's a cycle, from Christmas to Christmas, right? From New Year's to New Year's, right? In Catholic and Christian, they go from 40 days of Lent. That's a cycle, right? That's the Easter cycle or the Lent cycle. So many things happen in cycles and circles. Whichever idea you want to think about, it's the same concept. And a lot of times we go through these circles and we end up repeating our past. And so when we repeat our past, we get into familiar situations that we've seen before. And a lot of times what happens is, let's say, you're on an obstacle course, right? And you go on an obstacle course and you start running and you go through all these simple obstacles, you're jumping over a hula hoop, right? And then you're running, for 20 feet. And then you're, basically walking under a limbo bar, right? And as you go back around, again, the hula hoop gets a little bit bigger, right? You got to jump over the hula hoop, right? And then the bar gets a little, instead of 20 feet, you got to run 40 feet, right? And the distance gets a little further. And then, your next obstacle gets a little harder and a little harder and a little harder. But you're doing the same thing. You're now pushing yourself at a greater pace, right? Well, let's just say you've reached your limit. Let's say you've done this so many times, you've reached your limit. Your limit on the hula hoop, let's say the hula hoop can only get, 5 feet wide, right? And your running distance, you can only go 100 feet, right? And then you really start to feel fatigue. And then the limbo hoop, that one, let's say the bar can only be down to your belly button, and you can't go under that any lower, right? That's as low as you can go, right? So let's say you go through that obstacle, you complete it, but if you were to do that again, it's not gonna happen, right? It's not gonna happen. That's your mentality already. So you go through the obstacle again, the bar seems a little bit lower. Okay? That limbo bar is just a little bit lower. You conquered the hula hoop, you conquered the running, but now that hula hoop bar is just a little bit lower, and you just walk up to it and you stop. Because you've done so many circles, so many cycles of that routine, you already know what's going to happen. You're predicting your own future because of past events. See, what happens with us is we come up to these problems in life and we already know, right? Or we claim to know, this isn't going to work. I've been here before. And I've felt the same way. This is me talking about me. I've felt that over and over and over many times. And it's always those times that I get frustrated enough to say, you know what? If I'm going to fail, then fail. Right? If I'm going to fail, then fail. I'd rather fail than fall. So if I'm going to fail, attempt it, fail, prove to yourself you're going to fail, that's what, if you physically prove yourself, whether you succeed or not, then you've proven yourself. You've proven the theory, right or wrong. So if the idea is, man, I'm going to fail, I can't go under this thing this low, this is my limit, and you do it and you fail. You say, no, you know what? I think I got it. I think I figured it out. And you go back to the whole obstacle course again. If that comes around there, I know, you know what? I'm going to try harder. I got it. Because some situations in life we cannot, we can't turn back the hands of time. We can't go back. We can't, repeat the exact situation that happened. But we can take the lessons learned from it. So when it happens again, we don't repeat the same circle. We're creating a new circle. And what that circle is, it's basically your comfort zone. See, when you start to expand outside your comfort zone, you start to create new territory for yourself. And what is the new territory? The new territory is your new belief. Your new territory is your new self, your next level, who you are, right? Because just like I told you that obstacle course, every time you completed it, things got a little more competitive, right? A little more harder, right? In a sense. So even though the measurements were small, gradually increasing, right? It was still a little harder than the previous one. It was more challenging. But you were confident enough to know, man, I jumped that hula hoop 2 feet further than what originally, was. So I'm good. If I do this, 100 times, I'm good. You start to measure out your limitations. I'm good until all of a sudden, right? I'm good until. And that's the mentality that I used to get in. And so I would just play on my strengths and shy away from my weaknesses. So my comfort zone, my level of competitiveness, my mentality, my mindset on how confident I was, my confidence level was only set at a certain height because that's as high as it could go. It couldn't go any higher. If I came to an obstacle that I knew I could not do, my confidence level fell. It fell. It didn't fail, it fell. Because it didn't even exist. I didn't have anything to go at. See, when you're in failure, you at least attempted. And I would come up to obstacles that I didn't even want to attempt because I was already telling myself, it's not going to happen way before it even happens. And that's what we have to do sometimes. We have to get out of our own heads, okay? We have to tell ourselves, look, just give it a shot. If it fails, it fails. We go through life, in failures all the time. So if it fails, it fails. But here's the deal. You have to take another shot. You have to swing the bat. That's step one. Step two is you can't allow yourself to talk yourself out of taking the shot. Don't pass the ball. Okay? I'm not trying to tell you to, ball hog it, but don't pass the ball. I mean, take your shot. This is your shot. Some people will pass up their shot in benefit for somebody else. Now, sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. But if you can live with that, remember, that's on you. The worst thing you can do is regret. The worst thing you can do. We're all going to be laying on our final bed. We're all going to take our final breath. And in those moments, and in my recent history, as of today, I've watched two of my rocks in life, two of the individuals that, I love dearly in life, take their last breath. And as I watched them take their last breath, I watched one who was in his mid-40s and one who was in his late 70s. And I put myself in those positions, in both midlife and as an old man. And I tell myself every day, when you get there, because it's inevitable, you're going to get there. When you get there, have no regrets. Always think and always grow outside your circle. So guys, just remember, it's scary. It is. It's not something that you just, it's easy. Because if it was easy, we'd all do it, right? That cliche. But you have to take another shot. You have to swing your bat. You have to at least attempt to fail rather than don't attempt at all. Don't die with regrets. Die completely empty. Completely empty of attempts that you've taken all your shots and you don't regret a single one.